Hi guys, I'm here with Sam from Hanham Dental, and Sam is the owner. He has recently done their first post-COVID smile event, and he has kindly agreed to give us some insights on how that experience went for him. So Sam, if you can just introduce yourself and a bit about your practice.
Hello, I'm Sam Labib. I own Hanham Dental in Bristol. I bought the practice in 2018. It was a fully old-fashioned paper-only practice. We've spent the last 2 years transforming it into a more modern digital practice. We bought an iTero scanner in beginning of 2020. Great timing, and we've started providing lots of ortho cases. A couple of my associates have special interest in ortho, and we joined up with Connect sort of at the end of 2020, sort of November 2020, to try to promote the practice, try to get a social media presence, and we had our, as Jay said, we've had our first smile makeover event end of last week.
Perfect. Okay, so you did one before, didn't you? You did a smile event before COVID. So
Yeah.
what was your experience doing it pre-COVID and post-COVID?
Pre-COVID, it's a lot more relaxed. Obviously, you can turn it into more of a sort of a walk-in event rather than people can come in. You can make the setting in the practice a lot more relaxed. Have coffee, have the practice, whoever you designate as the practice coordinator on the day, sitting down, sort of roving between patients, having a chat. Post this weekend, it was much more structured. Obviously, we had to make sure that our protocols were adhered to quite safely. We had to make sure that there's no patient mixing. Effectively, it became an appointment system rather than an open event in the sort of strict sense of the word. So yeah, it was different. It was different, but I think patients' goals were achieved. Everyone who came wanting to discuss something had it done. Everyone who wanted to start treatment had it done, and those who wanted to sort of take advantage of the discounts we were offering on the day managed to get it. So yeah, different experience, but the end result, I think, was satisfactory for us, and the patients got what they wanted. So
perfect. So I suppose you're already adhering to the COVID regulations anyway.
Yeah.
So technically, it was just the way we marketed and span it to basically say it was an event, because it technically was the same as booking them appointments. They went through the same protocol, all the COVID stuff was obviously followed.
Yeah.
So did you have any messages or comments from the patients that came in regarding how they felt, or their expectations regarding COVID in general?
Our patients, ever since we sort of started up again in June, have always been very impressed with our sort of how seriously we take our COVID protocol, and that was no different at the Smile event. The majority of the patients who came in were patients who were new to the practice, so whether they had seen the protocol at another practice or whether they'd not been to the dentist since lockdown, we don't know. All of them stated that they'd had a checkup within the last year, so we're assuming that they have. They were very happy that they all felt safe. They all said they felt very, very safe. They were very complimentary on the way we ran things. One of them had been to a Smile event previously, and they'd mentioned that it was run a little bit differently because she was allowed to sit down and have a cup of coffee and have a chat with someone before she went into the treatment room. But she said that the way we ran it was just as good. So we had no patients who were concerned about the way their safety was looked after. So.
Perfect. Because also on social media, we do post little bits out to obviously say that you're open, say that you're safe, that message has been consistent, and then obviously to put this smile event on. Did you have anyone phoning up pre their appointment just to check to see how things were going to run, or was the trust there?
Well, we did the screening call. We our staff did a screening call for all of the perspectives the day before and talked them through the entry protocol, and we basically directed them to our website, which had sort of on the front page as a breakdown of the practice entry system. So most patients were given all of the information when they first booked the appointment, and all of the ones who came to us via the social media pages, so Facebook and Instagram, will have had a flick through previously and seen all of the repeated messages about being COVID secure, about the fact that we're open. So we didn't have anyone specifically call up to ask about the safety, because I think the information was there to hand for them from the moment that they were interested and started doing the research about coming.
I suppose it's a really good way to handle it. You're kind of like giving them the information before anyone has to ask for it. So it also gives them like a soft welcome as well.
Yeah, I think
so
it makes you, when you're on the front foot of things, especially when it comes to safety, that people realize that you're not being reactive and that you're being proactive about these things. If you're proactively saying, here's everything that we're doing to make sure that you are safe, then it makes them feel more secure, rather than them having to ask the question. And even if you give them the response that they wanted, I think there's always going to be a little bit of doubt if the patient's got to make the first move and going, hang on, what are you doing to keep me safe? If you're going, we're ready to welcome you, here's everything we've done to make sure you're okay, patients feel more secure, patients are happier with it.
It's eliminating any doubt, isn't it?
Exactly. It makes them know that you've thought of all of these things rather than reacted to the question, that you're prepared for all of this stuff.
Excellent. Okay. So moving on to the day. So how did you run your practice? Did you close it to normal appointments, or did you just have the Smile event running, or did you have other people coming in between?
So we're a 3-surgery practice. We had all 3 surgeries were still running. Mm-hmm. We designated 1 treatment room for the Smile Day, and the other 2 were running as per normal. Okay. Because we still had, we've got an NHS contract, so you've still got the obligation to see patients, and you've still got the obligations to see emergencies. So it wouldn't have been practical to do it. And none of the staff were keen on doing it on a Saturday yet, just because it's such a long week with all the stuff that we have to do with the PPE and all the kind of stuff, that we kind of said, well, if we fill up the Thursday and the Friday well, then we can kind of draw a line under it. And the days were oversubscribed. So we didn't feel that a Saturday was necessary at this point. All the appointment times were staggered, so the patients were given appointment times staggered to everyone else. So no 2 patients met at the door at any one point, and no 2 patients were let out at any one point. It takes a bit of sort of table gymnastics to do it, but we have a runner who basically would know who would be coming in and going out. So the patients would be taken into the treatment room, where the clinician would do the scan, talk them through everything. It was a half-hour appointment slot. Any photos and videos that we wanted to take, we'd sort of allocated another 10 minutes at the end just to do that. And then the patient was sort of escorted out, given the goodie bag with all the information on it and a couple of little gifts. And then we followed it up with either a telephone call or a video call this week, just to answer any additional questions. So it had to be planned carefully to make sure that the diary was COVID secure, that we could run the Smile Day simultaneously while seeing other patients as well. But yeah, it ran really, really well.
So it seems that you had a really good process from obviously doing the marketing to get the Smile event out there, to then phoning or getting the patients booked in, phoning them up, obviously giving them all the information, then you had everything scheduled to get them in. But once you had them in, you had a lot of things arranged. So for instance, you had all the content that you wanted to create for your social media. So you had your boards done, you had like the video content that you knew that you wanted to get, but you also invested in some merchandise for the practice as well. Moving forward onto, obviously, one of the reasons why you joined us was obviously to try and help your reputation and obviously help your image and get things out there. And I think the way that you've done that and the merchandise that you've got is very nice. People are going to want to keep it. So what I'll do is I'll send a couple of pictures over with this with a video, so people can kind of see what you've done, because I think in a way, some people, you know, they don't necessarily want to give that much away. They want to try and keep things as close to profit margins as possible. But I think in this scenario, or what you guys have produced, it's a very, very good, a positive.
Yeah, I think we were thinking of the overall picture as well, because as you alluded to, we basically got on board with you guys because the practice's reputation was very fixed in the past. It was fixed it was the NHS practice in the local area. It was the old-fashioned practice in the local area, and no amount of positive feedback from patients seemed to be breaking that barrier. People wouldn't contact us specifically to get anything done that was outside of the boundaries of NHS, and then within the practice itself, whenever we recommended any non-NHS treatment, it was met with quite a lot of resistance. So I made peace with the fact that the first 5 years of me running the practice was going to be about investing in the physical practice and the image as well. So getting the branded stuff just seemed like a sensible thing to do, obviously not just for the Smile event, but for any future Smile events. So we put in quite a large investment into the tote bags, the pens, and the little lip balms. Having discussed it with associates who work in other practices and have been to other Smile events, it was the kind of things that, while it may seem a throwaway bit of money, it actually sort of burrowed into people, even subconsciously. Having the tote bag suddenly appear when you're walking around in the supermarket in the local area, which is what's happened. A couple of our staff went into the local co-op, saw one of the tote bags being loaded in. You know, the lip balms, for example, we thought they're little, like you said, you're going to show the photos, but people want lip balm. It's one of those, not for me, but essentials that people have in their purse. So to have that, and then subconsciously people see that, you know, it just infiltrates in. And so I didn't see it as, you know, it was one of those things that, as this is going to be one of many Smile days, I thought, yes, we need to have a base that we can work on. So having these as the giveaway bags for people who attend the Smile evening, it just was a sensible thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I loved them. I absolutely, like when you sent the photos through of what you'd got, it was really refreshing to kind of see that you had that, you know, it was something that people would keep, you know, and obviously with the pens, obviously the branding's really good on it, you know, the little lip balms. It was really refreshing to kind of see the effort and obviously the time that you've invested into obviously getting the design right for these events as well. I think it makes people feel, you know, special when they get a decent goodie bag to take away with them, or something that they're going to keep, because people.
Yeah, I think people know that you've made the effort to put something together. Because again, I mean, the goodie bag it was the 3 items that were in the photos. We put in a bottle of water, we put in some sugar-free polos, and then we put in the pamphlets about finance, the Invisalign, the bonding, the whitening. So it had the information, and then when the patients got their quote, we said, oh, here's your quote, we're going to put it in your goodie bag, and then handed it over as well. And then because we had the golden ticket event going on as well, it kind of made the patients then go, we said, oh, you may have a golden ticket in your bag because X, Y, and that. So then they would look into it, and we've had patients pull things out and go, oh, lovely. I've been, you know, so it created an immediate interaction. So the patients left on a positive note, regardless of how their consult went, whether they wanted to go through with it or not. There was a positive that came out of it at the end.
Absolutely. So did you manage to get all of the content that you wanted to get on the day? I mean, you sent through quite a few videos, and
we got most of it. Some patients were reluctant to have photographs taken. Some patients declined because they weren't happy with their Smile, and that's why they came to us in the first place. So, but for the most part, we got enough content to then set up for future stages. We, you know, for future Smile events, we had enough sort of personal content to go, here's what we did before, here's what we're going to, you know, just because when we set it up, this Smile event for the first time, a lot of the content was good, but there was very little of it that was personal to us. We could only do the staff loading the goodie bag trays, us setting up. So there was very few sort of patient videos and patient photographs, whereas this one, we've got so much lovely content that we can then use that as a platform. And I think that will attract more patients.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we actually have the content, we have the content from the patients, and you know, with the I started my new smile journey today, or you know, those things are really, really powerful. And I think now the most important thing that you need to keep following up is that the patients that go through with the treatment, you need to get their testimonials at the end, get their before and after pictures, so that we can do like an actual journey with them from day one to getting the Invisalign on, to getting the Invisalign off. You know,
I think again, it's like I was saying with the reputation of the practice and stuff, is that we're finding the reluctance to be on social media, and I think tends to be with the older, the established patients of the practice, because they're not. It's not something that you're used to in the practice. Whereas all of the patients that were new who came to the Smile event were perfectly happy to say, "Yeah, we'll do it. Yes, we'll get involved." So having that kind of social media friendly reputation out there means that we can generate the content a lot easier, which will be great.
Perfect. So let's have a look at the event. So did you have a goal when it came to doing the Smile event? Was there a particular goal, or was there a particular reason behind doing it?
It was to promote the fact that we're doing these things. I think that was the main thing for us to do, is that, look, that we can help you with this, we can do this, we have the staff to do this, we have this amazing equipment, because I was feeling it was slightly underutilized. One of our associates is very heavily interested in ortho, and so I was feeling she was underutilized in the practice, so I wanted to increase her ortho workload. We basically nailed that target on the head, so I was really pleased.
Perfect, because she's actually she has her own Instagram page herself, doesn't she? So it's
both of them do, so both of them do, and they're both trying to promote it and stuff like that. So it's giving them a platform to work on as well.
Absolutely, it's good that you have their personal interest and investment into what you're trying to build as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was an associate somewhere where the individual associate's interest wasn't really catered for. So I've made a conscious decision that if you invest in your associates and you do stuff that interested them and grabs them, then they become a better part of the team, because they know that I'm constantly thinking about what I can do to keep them interested in dentistry. And so it's good that they're both getting the kind of content and the kind of treatments that they want to do.
Perfect, excellent. So how many spaces did you have, and how many spaces did you book? So I think
we had 26 spaces available. We filled them all, and we were oversubscribed. So a few patients called just after we'd booked everything. So we gave them appointments either side of the Smile event, and we said we'd honour the offers that we gave them. So in all, we had 30 patients in total, which is more than we hoped for, which was great. So yeah, the days were the appointment times that were available were gone, were all full, and plus a few extras, which bodes well for hopefully the next couple.
And they filled up really quick. I think we started advertising, and then literally within like 2 days you had like
it was within 2 days there were only 4 slots left, and then they were all gone. There was a few chops and changes in the middle when people dropped out and sort of we swapped in, because we had like a waiting list of people who wanted to do it. But the days filled up. Within a week.
Did you have anybody not turn up for the day?
Well, I had one person not turn up for the day due to traffic. So,
which is a great turnout, basically, because obviously there is downsides to events like this. Obviously, you put on a free event, people look up, and then you expect a few, but just to have that one because of traffic. I think
it's the disadvantage of having to have it in an appointment situation rather than having it as a sort of a open event. That we made sure that the staff called them the day before. We made sure they had the content. I mean, the traffic thing was unavoidable, but the patient then came in the following day. We slotted them in another slot, so we didn't lose we had one empty appointment, but the patient then was seen. So So we didn't lose any time in the clinic overall, so that was great.
That's really good. So out of these 30 that you booked, there was only 8 that were original patients?
Yes.
So
yeah, only 8 of them were patients. Everyone else was new, found out via social media.
Perfect. So tell me, what was the take up? So after you've seen these 30 people, what was your conversion?
So just over half have paid in full or put down deposits to start their treatment with a view to getting practice finance. 6 of them are thinking about it and are having their follow-up calls during the week. And I spoke to my practice manager earlier this morning, and 2 of them have already signed up. So, and the other 2 had some questions for the clinician. So we're just waiting we're going to do a video conference.
So you've got 4 people kind of pending at the moment.
Yeah.
The way that you have run your Smile event is that it wasn't an Invisalign day, even though that was the main thing that you wanted to come across.
Yeah.
What was the other treatments that you provided? Not everybody was suitable for Invisalign on the day, were they?
No, so there was a couple of patients who just needed effectively just whitening and a little bit of composite bonding. One patient needed a lot of work in the sense that she needed some perio, some root extractions, a lot of stabilization to do first before we could then talk about makeover. She'd been someone who hadn't seen a dentist in a couple of years, so there was a bit of work to do. But yeah, I mean, all of the patients who came in are having treatment in one form or the other. But I mean, all of the ones who've paid and came in are Invisalign patients. So the ortho is the overriding work that's come in.
Excellent. So we're talking that you had, 22 new patients on this, and they're technically now your new patients as a whole. So even though they're coming through Invisalign, you're technically going to try and keep them as general patients every 6 months.
A couple of them are registered at other places who don't provide any of these services. So we're providing them with a service that they've required, and then obviously it's down to the patients. Then we're not going to try to poach them from anyone. We've just said, here's your treatment plan. We're happy to go through it all with you. You will still need to see a dentist for routine treatment, depending on how long the treatment takes. So we're hoping that they feel happy and comfortable enough to stay on, but we're not going to pressure anyone to.
No. I think it'll be a good idea maybe like 6 months after their treatment is finished, you just touch base with them, or a couple of months after. We're going to be doing, because with bonding and Invisalign, we're going to be doing follow-ups on a sort of 6-month annual basis, so that they do come back and to the practice. Absolutely. I mean, that's perfect. Okay, so would you mind telling us, taking off your marketing, taking off your merchandise, what was your overall profit for this event at cost? As it stands, I know you've got a couple of.
As it stands right now, it looks like we're going to be just shy of 31,000.
Wow. Okay.
Not including the outstanding patients, and assuming that there's no additional costs coming in. So if we knocked off the marketing materials, the social media budget, plus the lab bills and stuff. Yeah. So for a 2-day Smile event, it was amazing.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So with the fact that we have a lot of clients that this interview is going to go out to, what would you recommend? What would you say anything to them? What advice would you give them regarding Smile events?
I think all of you will be satisfied with your safety protocol. It's something that has been hammered into us for the last 8 months, and something that we've been working on over and over again. There is no reason not to take that step unless you have a personal belief about running these events during the pandemic. It's a good boost for the business, and it's a good setup for post-COVID times. You'll be showing people who are not your patients, what you can provide, which I'm sure all of you have been doing anyway, but more importantly, that you can provide it in a safe environment for them, because I don't think, even when the lockdown is eased, I don't think patients will be, ready to just throw caution into the wind. Being able to show them that you can run these things in a safe environment is going to benefit them. So yeah, go for it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It really is. I mean, again, I haven't been running a practice for very long. It's only been sort of just over 2 years, but I've never had an event. I've never done anything that has netted this much that will then help me. It's basically expedited my 5-year plan by a substantial amount. So trust your staff, trust your protocol. There's no reason not to.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Sam. I mean, you've got another 2 that you've already scheduled in.
Yeah, we've got one for the 8th and 9th of April, and then another one for the 3rd or 4th of June. I really want to capitalize on the success of this one, and yeah, just help the practice go into that direction. I
mean, I can work with you as well regarding when you've got people coming in. You know, we can see if you've got anyone specific that wants to maybe do some videoing or something like that to explain, you know, how they feel, how the treatment's been since the Smile event, their expectations. You know, even if it's just getting their Invisalign fitted, you know, just that first, you know, getting your journey started. Because we can probably get a few of those in place, ready to advertise for your April event.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I think it would really, really help people, especially we could kind of push the COVID safe side of things for people that are sitting on the fence, really, really show, you know, how you guys are, hosting these events. Perfect. Okay, Sam, thank you so much for your time today. And we wish you so much luck with your next events, and have a great day. Okay?
Thanks for all your help. You guys have been so on point with these kind of things. You've made such a big difference to our presence on social media and how we've managed to bring the practice forward. Events like this couldn't have happened without you guys. You were brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sam.